What is up, everyone? This is probably gonna be one of my favorite YouTube videos I've ever made.
Fucking nuts. This thing sounds insane.
So right now I'm sitting here signing all the documents for my new car, my dream car. My first dream car at least, was a Brabus G-Wagon. If you know anything about those, you know it's a pretty badass car. Sick. They don't make very much of them. A Brabus G-Wagon is just a regular G-Wagon that they put like a wide body kit, exhaust, and then they tune it. All kinds of fancy stuff. But now I am purchasing a one-of-one full carbon wide-bodied Lamborghini Huracan Evo, which not only is it insane, but now I'll have two of the most insane cars on the road. And at 23 years old, I couldn't ask for a better turnout. It's going to be pretty insane and just unreal for me, but beyond all the materialistic BS, all the materialistic stuff, because I know I can't take that stuff with me when I die, but I like to see the things as physical trophies, as rewards for all of my hard work, my dedication to this game that we call entrepreneurship, to this game that we call business. Because one, I love cars, first of all, and two, like, money's made to be spent. So I'm gonna head to the dealership here soon and check this car out. It's gonna be an insane video, maybe in a little bit of an emotional video for me. So let's go hop in the Brabus and go check it out.
So crazy that, I mean, being in my 20s, early 20s, and being able to drive cars like this. I mean, I'm driving my Brabus G-Wagon to go pick up my full carbon Lamborghini Huracan Evo. Like, I have these things and it's just so perplexing and crazy to me. So it's like, I'm gonna keep saying it. Don't let anyone tell you you can't. They're gonna think you're crazy the whole time you're doing it. But just do what you gotta do to be successful. And if you can, have a mentor to take you along the way. Just like I did, just like everyone that I know that's extremely successful. They learned something from someone, and yeah, keep it going, guys. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Right here. Take a phone and stuff.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, who don't play, 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 play. Who don't play, 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 play. Who don't play, 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 play. Who don't play, play, play.
So driving home in the dealership with the Lambo, and this is fucking crazy. A few years ago, I was literally sleeping in the backseat of my truck, contemplating suicide on a daily basis. This is fucking nuts. Fucking nuts. You can do whatever you put your mind to. That's coming from someone who grew up with what you would call a shitty childhood, lived in a foster home, parents divorced, never went to college, no nothing. I had every reason to not be where I'm at today. Statistically, I should be the farthest thing from where I'm at today. And now I'm driving a $400,000 car. I have a Brabus G-Wagon, a condo, and I know it's all materialistic bullshit, but they're really good trophies and representations of how hard I've worked and all the dedication that I've put in. fucking war over here. It sounded like gunfire. Pretty funny story. There's a guy at the intersection who was probably about double my age, sitting in an older Tahoe with his windows down, and I downshifted. And if you don't know, when you downshift, the car pops because it's getting backflow, whatever. Like, you get it, you get the point. But I was stopping at the intersection, my car was popping, and he rolled down his window, and I always have mine down so I can hear the car, and I just scraped on the bumper. But he looked over at me, and he was like, "You know how stupid that makes you look, right?" And I was like, looking at him, and I was like, and it wasn't even on like something cocky or anything like that. It was just like me thinking, like, why do people hate so much? Like, what did I do to him? Like, I mean, yeah, my car is like obnoxious, I guess you would say. But what did I do to him to piss him off so much? Like, is his life sucked that much for him to want to hate on someone else? Like, is it that lousy? Like, you're calling me stupid sitting in your old ass SUV, double my age, and I'm in my early 20s crushing it. And like I said, it's not even on some like cocky shit or anything like that. That's just like how I was thinking about it. I was like, wow, really? Like, he's really gonna sit like that? And then you see the Brabus right there, right next to you. Woo! Ain't she pretty? Now we got two wide body beasts. I'm just gonna park them side by side. These cars are nuts. Super fun. Never regretted any of the cars I get, especially when they're one of my dream cars. Something like this, one of one, only one in the world. It's just insane.
Yo, what is up, guys? So we're back at the crib. I got a couple meetings to do. I got a Zoom call to do with my students. I kind of just want to explain what I do, how I did it. You're probably wondering, how's this guy driving, you know, like over $500,000 in cars, Brabus, G-Wagon, Lambo, penthouse, all that stuff. All the materialistic stuff that at the end of the day doesn't matter, but it's nice to have nice things. So I'm all about, you know, building the time freedom, the financial freedom, and stuff like that for yourself. I mean, if you're not into cars, if you're not into like houses and stuff like that, then cool. I mean, that's totally preference. But like me, I grew up very, very poor and not even seeing the cars that I have now. Like, I've never even like seen cars like that when I was growing up. So I just want to explain what I do, how I did it, and just what I do is called rental arbitrage. And what I do exactly is rent properties from landlords, and then with those landlords' permission, I take that same property, I furnish it, I take photos of it, and then I rent it out to traveling nurses, business professionals, families. I can even list it out on platforms like Airbnb, Vrbo, Bookings.com. And a typical property, say you have a property that costs $2,000 a month in rent. You can expect to make anywhere from 2 to 4 times the rent in profit. So with the property that's $2,000 a month, then you can expect to make anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 in profit. So how do you do that? Like, what if you don't have the money to do that? What if you don't have the funds? I didn't have the funds when I started. I started with a personal credit card. Luckily, I didn't have terrible credit. I had close to a 700 credit score, so it's pretty decent. But now, what I have done and what I do is leverage 0% interest business credit. So as long as someone has around 700 credit score, you know, no late payments, no derogatory things on their credit, they can get access to up to $200,000 in 0% interest business credit, which is freaking awesome, not only for a rental arbitrage business, but for any business. So if you're interested in getting 0% interest business credit, you can drop a comment down below or shoot me a DM on Instagram, see if we can hook you up. And with that, I have now built an in-house everything. So After doing this for about 5 years, my first year I did about $405,000, and then just scaled up from there to the point now we're doing over $150,000 a month. I know it sounds insane. I can drop screenshots of everything here. But I started teaching people, and while I was doing this whole thing and building this business, I was in the military. Growing up, I was not well off whatsoever. My parents got divorced at a super early age, bounced around from house to house, even lived in a foster home for a little bit. So I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to not be where you want to be financially or career-wise, anything like that. So long story short, I did a lot of entrepreneurial stuff growing up. Even I sold fidget spinners when those first came out. Bought them for about 80 cents a piece and was selling them for $8. That was my first taste of like hustling, entrepreneurship, whatever. And then I started doing landscaping, like mowing yards, and I started building fishing rods because I lived in South Texas where everybody fishes. And then at that time I was also working at Discount Tire. And living in South Texas, all the men in my family always worked at refineries or oil field, stuff like that, and just breaking their back until they were old. And that is just not what I wanted for myself, not what I wanted to happen to me. I mean, they made a decent amount of money while they could still work, but once they were old, they were like beaten, battered, and not really left with very much as far as like investments and stuff like that. So what did I do? I joined the military. And upon joining the military, I quickly realized, and it was the Navy in particular, I quickly realized how much I did not like it. One, the pay was terrible. I was making about $1,600 a month, $800 a paycheck every 2 weeks. And obviously that's not very much money, first of all. And second of all, it's not very much money living in California either, which is in San Diego, one of the most expensive cities to live in. So I quickly realized that it was not for me. I have a problem with authority. I hate listening to people, hate being told what to do, especially when it's from someone that's not very respectable, like some old fat dude who cheats on his wife and doesn't have very good morals is expecting me to listen to him and take instructions from him. It just wasn't right with me internally, it wasn't right with me morally, anything like that. So I started looking to alternatives. And when you get into the Navy, they put you on a ship. And whether you're out to sea or not, when you first get in, you have to sleep on that ship. And in that ship, you're in there with like hundreds of other dudes. And it smells terrible, it's cold, your bed is about as wide as an office desk, like this wide, not very huge, just wide enough where you can like lay on your back. And it was just terribly uncomfortable, disgusting. All your clothes and stuff had to be stored under your bed, so it's not like you had a closet or a room or anything like that. It was 3 people stacked on top of each other. And so what I decided to do, because I did have a truck at the time, I had a 2006 Chevy Silverado, and I decided to just live in the backseat of that. Even though it was heavily frowned upon, and more than frowned upon, you actually just weren't even allowed to do it at all. I was sleeping in the backseat of my truck, trying all different kinds of side hustles. And sleeping in the backseat of my truck might sound terrible, but it was better than sleeping on the ship because San Diego doesn't really get too hot or too cold. So luckily for me, like I wasn't really dealing with temperature or weather or anything like that. But I had phone service. I could talk to my family because inside the ship, it's a big metal box. You don't have any phone service whatsoever. And I had my own personal space. And believe it or not, the backseat of my truck was bigger than the bed that I was sleeping on. So got into all different kinds of side hustles, drop shipping, e-com, SMMA, everything that you could possibly think of, day trading, crypto, all of that. Even did window tinting on cars for a little bit, which I got pretty decent at, but it wasn't the greatest. And long story short, discovered rental arbitrage, which is what I do today. Did a little bit of research on YouTube, Google, stuff like that. Thought I had enough information to take it head on. So I used a personal credit card that Navy Federal was kind enough to give me, and I set up my first property, which was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Escondido, California. So from there, I pretty much crashed and burned the first month, didn't make very much money at all. And went to a couple real estate masterminds where you can go like in person and stuff like that, like free events. And the general consensus that I got was that you should not be getting into business, and you definitely shouldn't be getting into the real estate business of any kind without having a mentor. So my hard-headed ass knew kind of in the back of my head that I needed a mentor. I just didn't want one, and it might have been just that I didn't want to pay for one. So I ended up spending about $12,000 on a pretty much rental arbitrage mentor, and it was worth every penny, and I'll explain why. So that second month on that property that didn't make me any money, I did about $10,000 in profit, and so did the next month after that as well. And that's what kind of lit the light bulb in my head that like, hey, this actually works. Like, this can be extremely profitable. So that led me to get my second, third, fourth, and so on property to now we have 17 properties under management, doing north of $150,000 every single month at about a 60% profit margin. So doing about $80,000 to $90,000 in profit depending on the month. So that's what that's looking like. And upon this, before I got to the $150,000 a month, got a little bit ahead of myself, but when I started doing this, my first year I ended up doing $405,000. And being in the Navy, like I said, from the Navy I was only getting paid like $1,600 a month. And then I started driving better cars, going out to more places, visiting more places that typically cost a lot of money. And if you don't know, the military is pretty tight knit. And so I had a ton of people asking me what I was doing, how I was doing it. And so at this time I was building my business pretty big, and I didn't have like the tenacity or like the motivation, the drive that I did in the beginning, because obviously I wasn't like dirt poor anymore, sleeping in the backseat of my truck. So you can imagine that is pretty motivational, pretty good driving force behind you. And I was looking for, I guess, another thing that I could do as far as fulfilling myself. And lo and behold, that ended up becoming teaching people how to do this business. And I started teaching people completely for free. It was taking all my time, but I enjoyed it. And those people started making a lot of money. I had people that were also going from making a few $1,000s a month to now making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month, which was awesome for me to watch other people's transformation, even better than having my own transformation. It was extremely fulfilling, very awesome for me to be a part of. And I quickly realized like, hey, I like doing this, but it doesn't make sense to bust my ass, make all this money so that I can afford the things I can, so I can have better or more free time. And now I'm giving all my free time away for free. And I was like, okay, so how can I make this a win-win? So what I decided to do was what I have now, which is my B&B syndicate program, where I started building out a program which explains everything from A to Z, how I did it, gives the person all the tools, resources, even access to my team if they want. And since then, I built out a team that can find properties for my students, secure properties for my students, furnish the properties for my students if they want to, even manage them for them if they want to. And I even built out an in-house business funding team so that people that have a decent credit score, and even if you don't have a decent credit score, I have an in-house credit repair team too. So I can fix people's credit as long as you have a credit report. And it's just like late payments, collections, anything like that, I can get those removed off your credit. And from there, if someone meets the requirements to get access to business funding, my team can submit those applications and complete them for them. Otherwise, if you go to a bank, a business bank yourself, set up a business checking account and try to get 0% interest business credit cards, you're not gonna get very much, no matter how good your credit score is, no matter how good your credit report is. Now with my funding team, it's kind of, in a way, kind of how the mafia would pay off like the cops, but instead we have like those connections with the banks and the underwriters at the banks. If you don't know, the underwriters are the people that decide how much you get approved for, whether it's cards, loans, anything dealing with the bank. They call the shots. And we have direct connections to those people. Those people know me, they know how successful I've been in this business, and they also know the B&B Syndicate program. They know my program, they know how successful my students are. And they also know that not a single of my students have lost any money, not a single one of my students have ever failed when learning under me. And with that credibility, on top of having the connections with those banks, somebody that would only get $20,000, maybe $30,000 and 0% interest business credit can now get access to $150,000, $200,000 and 0% interest business credit. And these are just average people with like a 700, 720 credit score, not like a 800, 850, anything nuts like that.
Because like I feel like a lot of people say, oh, 3 months, you know, and we can get business funding. And sometimes, man, it takes a little bit longer, but you know, 100 points from 690 to 790, it's real. And so it's crazy that all my authorized users that I paid for are on there, then all my inquiries are all wiped off my account. And I had about, I want to say 6 to 8 all wiped off my account. So it's looking good, guys.
So you said 8 inquiries removed and 110 point increase. That's freaking nuts.
Yep.
That's freaking nuts. That's probably one of the best I've heard in a little bit.
Yeah. So the
normally
credit
people
limit
are like pretty close to like the 700.
47,000 is the credit limit. So I'm assuming that's from the trade line that was put on. So.
Oh, okay. That's pretty sick. Another thing as well, Isaac's in here. Isaac started, didn't your funding start yesterday, Isaac?
I'm going to say
like they submitted,
about a week.
They submitted all the applications yesterday or Monday?
Today's what, Wednesday? Monday.
Okay, yeah. So they submitted all of his applications on Monday for his 0% interest business credit cards, and he already has what, 100K, Isaac?
100K.
Yeah, so 2 cards.
Wait, so Eden or one of the funding members just submitted all your stuff and you just got funding that fast?
Yeah.
2 days.
2 days.
That's wild.
So you can imagine having access to that much funds is kind of life-changing, especially if you have my blueprint backed behind it so that you know exactly what to do with it. Because if one property is making you $5,000 a month in profit and you have $100,000 in funding and now you can get 5 properties, now you're making $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month from your rental arbitrage business. So that's a little bit about what I do, how I do it, how the internals work, and all of that. If you want to check out exactly like step-by-step how this works and how you can do it as well, totally for free, I have a course down in the description below explaining exactly how this business works, exactly how you can do it, as well as step-by-step videos on how you can find properties and how you can do this yourself. And even if you want, there's an option to book a strategy session with me and my team so that we can explain kind of how you can start this business and how you can get into it and how to make it successful. That call is totally free. The course, the training, all of that is totally free down in the description. Not going to ask you for any credit card info or anything like that whatsoever. So you can grab all that there, as well as you can check out my highlights on Instagram. You can see all my results, all my students' results, and anything else that you could possibly want to see regarding this to find out, is this guy a scammer or not? Is he legit? Does he actually help people make money? Does he actually make money? All that stuff. As well as all my content on any platform. I'm mostly on Instagram and YouTube. And of course, all of my other YouTube videos are pretty in-depth as far as like what I do, how to do it. And there's a ton of free information that I give on how you can get into the business without paying me $1 for me to mentor you or anything like that. But if you're wanting someone to hold your hand, someone to walk you through this process step by step to make sure that you can succeed, then if that's something that you're willing to pay for, then go right ahead. You can grab that free course, you can book a call in there, and when you're on the call with my team, you can let them know, like, hey, I think I want to work with Steven one-on-one. So I'll be doing a longer vlog, like just a raw reality of somebody
a successful entrepreneur in their early 20s, something like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna hit cheesecake. You know, cheesecake is fire. And yeah, I'm just gonna go with me and the wife. Peep the fit. Got the Stussy jacket, the Stussy shirt. I think these are Abercrombie jeans. And then the off-white shoes. And I got the Cartier ring, Cartier skeleton right there. And then I'll probably throw on Chrome Hearts chain and a Van Cleef bracelet. Yeah, no, all that just for cheesecake. But cheesecake never misses. It always hits. And yeah, catch y'all there. What are you gonna get? I'm gonna get the steak Diane or Diane, however you say it.
Let me see. Steak Diane. That looks good.
Medallions, mushrooms, wine sauce, mashed potatoes, and onions. I don't really fuck with onions that much, but they're alright if they're grilled.
We're gonna do that egg roll sampler.
Egg roll sampler? Yeah, that hits. Comment down below what y'all get at cheesecake. What y'all get for entree, and then what the best cheesecake is. Sheesh. You know it looks fire. What do you got?
Spicy shrimp pasta from the Skinny Lucious menu.
I think mine looks better, for sure. Full belly. What about you? You full?
I don't know you. I just met you on Tinder today, dude.
Shut the hell up. She said, I don't know you. I just met you on Tinder today. Only been married almost 4 years. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all appreciate it. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see more like vlog style videos. And so I kind of enjoy them. They're pretty cool. It's a little bit different from what I'm used to. It kind of changes the pace of things, so it's kind of fun to do. So let me know if y'all enjoyed those. Drop a like and subscribe. And yeah, peace. This is fucking crazy.